We're back.
Welcome back, everyone. We're chatting about A Course in Miracles as always. Um, so we are on lesson 23, roughly. I'm a little bit behind, but only by two exercises, so I'm not too bad.
Totally fine.
I'm blaming it on the airplanes.
Totally can.
Um, but yeah, so uh I can't remember what we were talking about before we hit record.
It was something good.
I know, and then I interrupted.
It's okay.
Um,
Oh, we were talking about how we're each building this into our day, just a little our own organic way.
yeah.
So Chantal, how are you doing it?
So I'm doing it a little bit like you, where I do an alarm. I love how the exercises, a lot of them, it's like repeat it 3 to 5 times a day. It's not like there's a whole ton of repetitions.
Mhm.
And so what I've kind of gotten in the habit of is basically from 2 hours after I wake up to, because that's kind of roughly when I've done a lot of like the busy stuff in the morning. Uh, I kind of do every hour for 5 hours. I do an alarm, and then I'll do kind of one or two in the afternoon, just so I kind of get it at different times of the day. But I am
Yeah.
one of those people where I try to knock it out in the morning so I can be like, okay, I've done this. I'm in the habit of doing it. If I want to do more later, I can. But I really try to. Oh, this sounds terrible. Like I know it sounds. I feel like this sounds terrible because it's like something spiritual and we should allow flow. But I do like to knock things off of my to-do list, so I'm not worried about um shit. Did I like did did did
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
did I not do it or whatever? I want that panic to be gone.
So to me, it sounds like you're integrating it in at the beginning of the day and then letting the flow happen,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, totally.
What
And
about you?
I'm doing it similar. I'm setting a timer. I'm setting it for every hour also, but I'm letting it go right through the whole day for a
Okay.
couple of reasons. One, I know darn well I'm going to miss some of them. It's just the way that it's going to be. I tried having two different timers going, one for this and one for something that I'm doing with clients. And then I couldn't remember what sound I put which each one. And then like just got too confusing for me. So I'm like, I'm going to do one. It's going to go through the whole day. It will remind me about my Course in Miracles. It'll remind me sometimes just to stand wherever I am and breathe for a couple of minutes. It will help to remind me to do what I'm going to do with my clients when I'm getting them to also just ground and those sorts of things. So it's just, I've got a timer helping me to be organic, I guess is maybe what it is, right?
Beautiful.
And so sometimes it's the course, because something that I'm finding is because I read the lesson and journal about it a little bit in the morning, and because so often they're asking us to look around our space at things, because I'm always in the same space doing that, I'm like, okay, so I've looked at that same vanity in my bedroom. I've looked at the same dog on my lap. I've looked at the same quilt. I've looked at the same thing so many times that it's a great start. And then I need to be looking in other places. And I mean, of course, we're also looking inward, but those first few lessons, they really do get you to look at items that are around you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so it's nice to just, like you said, to change up where it is that you are in your day.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think as well with the exercises, how they kind of change things up a little bit is so not just you like moving around your day and looking at things, but sometimes they'll have an exercise that sounds exactly the same as another exercise, but they just change one word in it. So rather
Mm-hmm.
than mine, it'll say this. Um uh and yeah, I've noticed just even that one little word change makes me think of the exercise in a completely new, different way.
Yeah. And what I love is I think of it as like a slow burn then, right? Like it helps you to just build slowly and organically instead of just diving super deep.
Yeah.
And something that Marianne Williamson keeps bringing up in her comments that we've been listening to is that the first half of the year is just to sort of clean up our thinking.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, that's such a nice way to say it as well.
Yeah, right. Just to tidy it up a little bit. It just needs a little bit of maintenance, right? I think too that because you and I have done the work that we've done previous to this, some of the lessons, as soon as it's, I read it and I'm like, oh yeah, I got that. Like that one feels nice and flowy and good. And it almost feels like a little bit of a break from the deeper dive because I'm like, that one I've been practicing for a while. So I will continue to practice. I love these new words around it. I love a different lens around it. And I am doing this already. So it's not like a mind blowing new thought, which is great. And it gives me a little bit of a respite.
The other part that I'm loving about the Course in Miracles right now is when we were reading the text, you and I kept on saying to each other how it looks like they talk about one topic from like 20 different angles.
Yeah.
And so there's parts of the book that feels repetitive, but it sinks in a different way, or they're like, if that way of thinking of it didn't work for you, think about it in this way. And I feel like that's already, like, even though we're barely through any of the exercises, you're already like, I feel like I'm already starting to see that quite a bit of the, now try looking at it from like this angle, now try looking at the same thing from this angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't that always the quality of a great teacher who can read the room and know I need to approach it like this and this and this and this and this to really serve everybody? And so hence the repetition in the text,
Yeah.
because we all learn differently and it all sinks in differently, which is great and beautiful because we're unique people. And it's not that you have to be this type of person to understand A Course in Miracles.
Yeah. Do you, so far, like with how far we've gotten, I know in the book it says read the text first and then do the exercises. Do you feel like someone could just jump into the exercises?
No,
I agree with that.
no.
I,
I
I
think
think
you could go ahead. Go ahead.
I think for the first 10 days or like the first 10 exercises, I was like, I feel people could do these ones. Like, and I always
Totally
have this
agree.
inkling of like when you get later on, probably not, but um I do feel like, I mean, there is a method to the madness, or like there's the reason why they say read the text first. And I feel like that is becoming more evident.
Yeah. And I think that you could probably do lessons in text at the same time if you were keeping up with text. But like we talked about before, the text fills you up. Like what you and I have chatted about being like literally full and not able to take in any more of it. And I found for me, it was about 5 pages a day.
Yeah.
It was just enough. And so yeah, I'm really happy with how we've approached it. But it for you and I think it's part of our personalities too. Like it says to do it this way, so we will do it this way, right? And so then I feel comfortable with that.
I'm really trying to give up the perfect student aspect of my life.
It's not an easy
Like
one.
it is a bit of a goal of mine. I think it started, I want to say roughly in November. I think just before I started like coach, I'm taking, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm taking like a coaching course with this lovely lady named Sharon. And uh yeah, and so because okay, for example, when, when I do the abundance book where you have to do like the 40-day process, you can't miss a day.
Yeah.
They tell you to do like right when you wake up or right before you go to bed. And I used to if Matt woke up early and would come down and talk to me, I'd be like, well, that was that morning brew, and I'm gonna have to do it tonight before I go to bed. And then I'd like try to do, and then I'd always forget about it. I'm terrible at doing those types of work, like exercises before bed. And then yeah, I'd always forget about it. And then I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to start from the beginning now. And it's like Matt didn't ruin it.
Yeah.
I'm just making myself do this for thousands of days rather than
Right.
just the 40.
And eventually being really pissed off at Matt and blaming him.
Totally. which is not what that book's about.
It is not.
So even some mornings where like I allow myself to get distracted by whatever it is, right? Like the postman came and then I looked at my phone and whatever, and it's just like, okay, now it's like I've been up for 2 hours. I'm like, well, no, that's okay. I still did the
That's okay.
exercise. I'm not going to consider it as like a day that I didn't do it properly. Like, it's
Yes,
okay.
it is
But it's
okay.
taken me a lot to get there, which is ridiculous.
And do you know how I've approached the abundance book is the 40-day thing. So like you said, it has to be consecutive, right? Before you can move to, you have to do 40 days. And so once I got the 40 days in, I was like, there, I've done it once. I'm going to call that good. If I miss a day moving forward, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How I ended up doing it. Because again, because I'm with you. I was that student too. I might not have ever made perfect grades by any stretch. However, I was that student who sat quiet and listened and took the notes and like
Did the
this
homework.
time it was on
Yeah.
time, all the things, right? All of those things. And honestly, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna do it my own way. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Like I'm tired of
Yeah.
like asking for people's approval.
No
And you
permission
wanna know
needed.
what? I think it's a Course in Miracles that brought it up.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Because there is something like when you're constantly seeking other people's approval, like it goes back to people pleasing, where it's like,
It
oh, I'm
goes
gonna
back
like,
to people pleasing.
yeah,
The author of the abundance book is not going to drop you a line and be like, Chantel, you rocked it. Thank you so much for continuing to do the 40 days exactly as I taught you to do it.
totally. And I didn't ruin
Right?
his life by not doing it for
You did not. You ruined nobody's life. You ruined nobody's life. Oh, and okay, so I think this goes in really great to something that I wanted to share. So I love the whole exercise that you and I have learned about contrast versus clarity, and that contrast brings clarity. I love that topic of conversation and see, and that's contrast, right? Like Matt, like quote unquote, messing up your morning routine is the contrast to bring the clarity of, no, he didn't actually. I can do this and it still works. And so the lesson for today, I'm going to just read the words. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. And so I had an interesting weekend where I was in a curling bond spiel, and it just ended
Wait,
up
what
being
is
this
that?
beautiful, like, what's that? Sorry.
What's a curling bond spiel?
Oh, sorry. So curling, like curling the
Oh yeah,
sport.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Bond spiel tournament.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And it's just fun. It's fun and light. And I live in a small town. We're not super serious. We go, we have fun. It's all good. So this bond spiel ended up being this beautiful, amazing purple stew of opportunity, of contrast for clarity. And it was interesting to witness myself and my husband as we navigated casual sexism and different interesting things that were happening in this bond spiel that happened to our team, which is like attack. Our team was involved, I will say. And we were driving on Saturday to go and play again. Or maybe it was Friday night when we were leaving. And I said to him, it's the perfect example of there's no right or wrong. There's just no right or wrong. It's very, very gray. And we all see it differently. And what was interesting is, one, I was pissed right off about this casual sexism thing that happened. And what I noticed was I was pissed off about the situation, but not at the people involved in it.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, that is progress. That's progress. I didn't like what was happening. I let myself feel pissed off. I didn't attack anybody verbally. I didn't attack them with my thoughts or anything like that. Like they are seeing it their way and I'm seeing it mine. Neither of us are right or wrong. We each have our thoughts and emotions about it, and it's okay. And I still let myself be pissed off.
Yeah.
And I also allowed myself to feel it move it through my body, and have a really fun time at the bonspiel. Did my husband and I need to chat about it a few times when we were at home? We did, but that's what helped us move the energy. And each time the conversation just kind of ended like, well, but that's just what it was. And we had a really fun time. And so it was interesting. So like, thank you, Course in Miracles. Thank you, all the things that we have learned before A Course in Miracles. And it just, as we get clear on things, the universe is going to throw us contrast so that we can keep on learning, expanding, and growing and trying it out and getting really, really clear still.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's really important for everybody to still, because sometimes you can get all spiritual with things and really get into it all. And then I can start doing like a lot of emotional bypassing then, because like, oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Well, sometimes it's just not all good. Sometimes you're really pissed off, and it's okay. It's okay to be really pissed off. Feel that, move that, and then move on with your life. And at the same time, too, I think it's also really important as people who work in spiritual work at all to participate in life.
Yeah.
Not just, be in the Zen here at home alone in my quilt room. I want to be out and experience life, experience this contrast, and integrate my learning and really play with it and have fun with the learning instead of being spiritual here alone at home.
Well, and that's just it, is like when you have all these interactions with people, they're mirroring you, there's projection, there's all these different things going on. And
Yeah.
it's just spirit being like, here's a lesson, here's a lesson, here's a lesson. And you take in whatever you're ready to learn at that moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a fantastic experience in so many ways.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. And did I have to journal about it quite a bit? I did. Like I danced this morning, and I knew because my energy was still just a little bit off. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff to get to work through.
Yeah.
I love how Esther Hicks talks about how a new contrast would come into her life, and she'd be like, ooh, so exciting. She'd write it down and she writes it down in her little book. Ooh, more contrast to play with. I'm sort of picturing that.
She's so cute. Like
Yeah.
I the way the way that she talks about spirituality and life in general, there's such there's like an addictiveness to it. Like it's just so, sorry, no, it's so contagious. And it just like it just feels magical. Like there's something magical about the way that she speaks about things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is such an amazing ripple creator,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And she's someone as well, like when you see her in like the YouTube videos on stage and certain things, she's someone you can tell like is living her life in flow more than she isn't. Like, and it's like
Yeah.
when she gets into the flow, you can hear the change in her voice. Like you can,
Yeah.
it's her, like everything changes, and it's like, yeah, like like visually, her jokes, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, it's.
She's amazing.
Mhm.
She's got such beautiful, beautiful messages to share. And she can do it in a very, I love how she teaches with storytelling as well. I'm a huge fan of that, and I use it myself, and I love learning that way. And she uses that so well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
find
really
her
appreciate that
lessons
about her.
stick quite good. Yeah.
And that's why, because she tells this story that's entertaining and it makes sense to you, or it doesn't, or whatever it is. And it soaks in. I mean, it's fables and legends, like it that, like that's how we learn things as little kids too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and those cultures that have a very oral history, like we love that as humans and animals and whatever, all the different things that we are. We love being told a story. We love being entertained. Like, look at the entertainment industry. It just shows we love being entertained.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And she's able to, and those people that are really, really good at entertaining you and bringing really wonderful wisdom, knowledge, information, whatever, are amazing teachers.
And I think as well, like the people who are able, like she's one of those people who are able to speak about really serious, really
Yep.
deep, very complicated topics,
Yep.
make you laugh and be very lighthearted and like playful with it. And
Yeah.
so you're more open to it. It's not like you don't put up a wall so much with the things that she says because she invites play into it. And it's very like I'm really bad for this where I'll be really playful with my meditation and then all of a sudden like I don't know when this turn happens, but like I'll start to get serious about it and not realize I'm getting serious about it. And then the fun goes away. And
Right.
it's you need to reprioritize the fun and the lightheartedness of it because that's where like the discovery,
Yeah.
that's when you notice things. When you get too serious, you actually start blocking yourself.
You do. It's like we're the fun police to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Quit taking ourselves so dang seriously. Just ease up.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen videos of her, like you said, really deep, hard topics. And it was a woman who was there and her son had committed suicide. And it was what she was in the midst of. And Esther was direct with her. And it could have come across as harsh, but she was direct. And it was interesting. She actually had her come back up and she just said, I know that people are going to be like, why were you so harsh? And she's like, this is why. And like the woman got it.
Yeah.
She got it. Yeah. And when you think of people in your life who speak to you plainly and clearly, isn't it just easier?
Yeah.
Right? And like simple, clear communication is such loving communication, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so that's something around A Course in Miracles. It's not simple, clear communication. It's not. It's not. And it's also still really, really great. And so we've chatted about this before, just the whole, like it's the way that it's written and the way that the information is shared causes us though to dig in and wonder, what do they mean by that? And dig in
Yeah.
instead of it just being really simple and us going, oh, okay, that's really simple. Right? It causes us to dig in, which is really great. And it triggers us and all kinds of other great things. And we know that when we get triggered, there's so much learning going on then.
Yeah.